Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Hey guys, Colin the Big Yoshi here. Welcome back to day 4 of the Marvel Marathon. Today we're going to be reviewing Thor. This movie came out in 2011 and it is a very mixed movie. A lot of people like it and a lot of people really don't like it, so I guess we'll see what I have to think about it now. So, I think that the main thing that I like about this movie is I really like the world building. Like, you could definitely believe that there are 9 realms and that Earth is just one of those, and then there's Asgard with all their shiny golden buildings and their Bifrost and stuff like that, and that Thor is the heir to the throne. And even stuff like Jotunheim, that's a really good setting as well, because you could definitely believe that that's just a place in ruin that Odin has kind of overthrown. And I just think that the Earth setting works really well, too, because a lot of people don't like it because it's just New Mexico and it looks kind of ugly. I think it actually looks pretty good. Like, obviously it doesn't, look pretty good. I don't know what that was for. I just did this for no reason. I don't know what, yeah. It obviously doesn't look great, but like, compare and contrast. You're supposed to compare and contrast Asgard to New Mexico, and it's kind of cool that way. And it also leads to some nice, like, fish out of water humor with Thor, because when he gets banished from Asgard, he ends up on Earth, and he has no idea, like, what to do, how normal people act, and stuff like that. So it leads to some pretty funny interactions. The famous example, another, that one. So besides the interesting world building, the costume design is also really great. Like, I love how they all look like they belong in Norse mythology and stuff like that. Like, they just look the part. Like, Loki and Thor and the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif and stuff, they all look really good. Like, they're just the production level in this movie is really good. And also the CGI is really beautiful. Like, stuff like the Destroyer in the end of the movie, that looks really good. And CG Asgard looks really great as well. Yeah, it just looks really good. And I guess we could talk about the characters now. So since they had to build this whole new world, there are obviously a lot of new characters, like obviously Loki and Thor, then they have Lady Sif in the Warriors 3, Odin, and then they also have some new characters on Earth, such as Jane Foster, Darcy, and Eric Selvig. So, let's talk about those, I guess. Loki and Thor, they are just great characters. Like, honestly, could you think of a better person to be Thor than Chris Hemsworth? He just plays the part perfectly. And Loki also plays the part perfectly. I know everybody just loves Loki, and he's not the best in this movie, but he's pretty good in this movie. Like, he starts out kind of like not very sneaky and conniving. Although I guess he does kind of invite the frost giants into Asgard, but I mean, whatever. So yeah, those are some pretty great characters. And Thor, he also is great because he has this redemptive arc, and that's what the whole movie's about, where he isn't worthy of the hammer Mjolnir because he's just like too selfish and he wants to kill an entire race basically. So, we wouldn't want that. And so the whole story is about him having this redemptive arc where he has to be selfless to gain the hammer again. And it has to come naturally, and luckily that happens. And it's also kind of like emotional as well because Thor kind of feels at the beginning like he failed, like he's very cocky in the beginning, and it's kind of cool because you get to see this guy who's super cocky become this guy who he feels like he didn't do enough for his father, and he didn't impress his father, and he's not worth being the king of Asgard. And Loki is sad as well. Like, his story's really sad because he doesn't really know his place in the world, because he knows that Odin didn't actually want him. He just found him and thought, well, this could be good to unite us and the Frost Giants. And yeah, Loki just feels betrayed and he doesn't know what to do. So he just turns to anger. And some of the other characters, these ones are they're not bad, but they're not as good as these characters, obviously. We have people like Odin. He's pretty good, but he sleeps for like half the movie, so we're not even going to talk about him. The humans, I think they're actually a pretty good addition to the cast. I think that, I know a lot of people don't really like them, but I think that they worked pretty well, and I don't know, I mean, I really like Eric Selvig before he started getting all weird. We'll get to that later. And, I mean, Darcy's kind of annoying, but, like, she tells some good jokes, so, I mean, whatever, that's fine. And obviously we have the returning Agent Coulson. He's always great. And what else? I guess the characters I didn't really like were Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, because they were just kind of thrown in there, and they didn't really have any plot relevance. They were just kind of there, which is probably why they got killed off so quickly in a future movie. They just didn't really need to be there. So, yeah. And I guess we can talk about the story now. Like, the pace in the beginning of this movie, I thought it was going kind of fast. Like, in like it felt like the first 20 minutes, it might have been like 30. He tries to kill an entire race. He gets blasted into Asgard, or out of Asgard and into Earth, and then he's like interacting with the humans and stuff, But I actually didn't mind the romance plot. I thought it was kind of good. It made Thor more human. It humanized him more, and it made him like look at the world a different way and stuff like that, so he's not as selfish about everything. And unfortunately, that was really all I wanted to talk about, because I wasn't able to take a lot of notes during this movie. This movie is just kind of, I thought it was pretty good, but like, I don't know, there just wasn't a ton to get excited about in it. So yeah, good movie, but that'll pretty much wrap up my review. I think if I was going to give this movie a rating, I would give it like a 4, because there's just a couple characters that I don't really like, and, the story isn't the best overall, and the exposition isn't that great either, because they just don't tell it in a very interesting way. Or, I guess it is kind of interesting, but not for the audience, it's just kind of dumb, because another YouTuber said this, but at one point, there's this part where Heimdall has to explain to the characters how the Bifrost works, but they probably already know how it works because they're like gods and they've been living for a really long time. It's literally just to tell the audience, and that's it. So yeah, this was a pretty good movie, and it was and Thor's just a nice addition to the Avengers, which we'll get to next time. So stay hyped for that, I guess. Bye, guys.